young, or am I faking? On the tip of my tongue, there's a sarcasm waiting for you. I'm willing to trade my soul for a bit of your charm. There's no way I'll fade into oblivion, 'cause I'll keep shining over you all. And if your wings entwining, you better face the fall, keep trying again. Oh yeah, keep trying again. There's mud on the floor, desperate people trying to get through the door, although the room's already crowded. But I'll keep shining over you all. And if your wings entwining, you better face the fall, keep trying again. Oh yeah, keep trying again. Zeros, everybody's trying to be heroes, when all they have to say to be okay is I don't know. And keep trying again. I'll keep shining over you all. With your wings entwining, you better face the fall. Zero, everybody's trying to be heroes, when all they have to say to be okay is I don't know. Are you okay? I'm not that sure. Forever young, or am I faking? On the tip of my tongue, there's a sarcasm waiting for you. I'm willing to trade my soul for a bit of your charm. There's no way I'll fade into oblivion, 'cause I'll keep shining.
Hello and welcome back to the Great Lakes Cup Series. Here we are at Charlotte for the Charlotte Throwback 225. This race should be a fun one. We're getting down into the thick of things, and today we have a $50 bounty on drivers that have made, I think it's 3 or less starts so far on the season. It's a lot to look forward to tonight, Alex. A lot of new faces as well.
Yeah, it seems that the $50 have attracted quite a few names tonight. Some pretty quick guys at that. We got somebody hunting that bounty on pole right now, so it's going to be tough for the rest of this Great Lakes Cup Series field to make sure that they keep that bounty in their hands.
Everyone's looking to get those $50 tonight on the bounty. It should be a fun one. Of course, coming into this race, we have an intense championship battle going on as well in the background coming into tonight. You have Elliot Henderson, of course, battling it out with Bransky, Jacob Bransky, Christopher Heller there lurking as well, amongst a couple other drivers, Nathan Nicholson among them. So we also have some points here tonight as well. So this should be a lot of fun at Charlotte. They're about to take off. They're about to take off the grid. We're gonna start your starting lineup here. Looks like we got on the pole is Bronson Stafford, a new name here tonight. And on the outside, you know him from the Truck Series here, Jake Miller in the number 57 machine.
Got one of our regulars back up front at the field with Austin Moore in the third position and a newcomer and Robert Kenny lining up alongside.
In the third row, it looks like on the inside in the fifth spot, we have Tom Bourne. And then on the outside in the sixth spot, we have Hunter Madalinas.
Right behind them, we got Elliot Henderson, our current points leader, just next to Matthew Daniels in the 5.
In the next row, in the ninth spot, row number 5, it's Christopher Heller in the number 11 machine, last season's champion, and then also championship contender in the number 23 machine, Jacob Bransky in 10th.
Just behind them is the 4 of Zach Rogers, and to his outside is Shane Therian, who coming into this event we hear was one of the favorites coming in.
Next row, row number 7, in this 13th position, you have Jacob Manning in the number 1 machine, and on the outside, the number 71 of Ty Aiken in the 14th spot, looking to get another win on the season.
Just behind them, we got our broadcast partner and also Truck Series driver Gavin Fitzgerald lining up alongside Lewis Woodall.
In the next row, in the 17th spot, in the number 97 machine, you have Aaron Duclos. Then on the outside, in the 18th spot, you have Nathan Nicholson.
Right behind them, you got the 42 of Nick Martin and another truck driver, William Barbeculata, lining up alongside him.
Then starting in that 21st spot, it looks like it's our commander-in-chief, Matt Rodriguez. Looks like he might be making his first Great Lakes Cup Series start in that 75 machine on the inside. So good to see him out there making a start here in the Great Lakes Cup Series.
Now, we've got an interesting update on our grid lineup here. Our third place driver, Austin Moore, did not take the grid. Looks like he actually lost connection before grid time was over. So he will have to start from the pit lane if he could come back in time. That'll move Tom Bourne up to the third position.
Yeah, some big circumstances right there, but it looks like Austin Moore just joined the server, so that's a good thing for him. He'll be able to at least stay on the lead lap, and he'll be hoping for a quick caution. A lot of new faces in here and a pretty big field for the Cup Series, so I wouldn't be surprised to maybe see some early cautions here. A lot of these drivers don't have any chemistry.
Yeah, with so many new faces tonight, it's going to make it interesting to see how these regulars deal with these guys, because a lot of them have different standards for what kind of racing they like, so they're gonna have to adjust to them as the race goes on.
Here they come off turns 3 and 4. Here comes the truck, the pace truck onto pit road, and Bronson Stafford in the 61 machine, the FRN Toyota, is gonna lead him down to the green flag here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Good start on the outside, it looks like, from Jake Miller. Everybody's stuck together really well there at the beginning. This should be a very exciting turns 1 and 2 first lap here at Charlotte.
Something that's likely to play out very soon here is these drivers are dealing with a very tight race car tonight. All of them are under a setup that really does not like to turn, so this side-by-side racing is going to be tough to deal with. But as they go into turn 3, Bronson is going to clear Jake Miller to the outside. That's going to allow Robert Kenny to pull up to the inside.
Here comes Robert Kenny in the number 34. Looks like he has a lot of speed on that outside right there, on the outside of the 54 of Tom Bourne, followed by Hunter Madalinas in the 17, making another Cup Series start on the season. He wants that $50 bounty. Actually, I'm not sure if he's contending for it. I'll have to look that up.
I believe Hunter Madalinas should be allowed to take it as he is a Truck Series regular, so he should be going for it as well. That would be a Great Lakes driver looking to grab the bounty away from these foreigners coming into this series.
Here's a battle at the front. Here comes the 57 of Jake Miller. He sends it in turns 1 and 2. He's underneath Bronson Stafford. Stafford's able to hold it on the high side. A great job keeping calm by Stafford. And he's able to get the runoff. And here comes Kenny. It might be 3 wide heading into 3 and 4. Oh, almost contact. It looked like between Miller and Stafford. Here comes Kenny. Kenny's going to try to clear him off 3 and 4. This is some great racing coming all the way to the start-finish line. There's still 3 wide.
This is absolutely incredible stuff, but Jake Miller's pinched there right in the middle. He's got nowhere to go. He might be able to nap the position away from Hunter Madalinas and manage to clear himself to the outside, but they're still too wide racing for the lead.
Stafford on the outside. You have Kenny on the inside. Flatout Racing Network putting it on here at the front. 2 Toyotas followed by Jake Miller. Here comes Tom Bourne as well.
Yeah, it looks like Stafford's going to end up clearing over Kenny. That's going to allow Jake Miller to try and slot in line. Looks like this outside lane has some pretty good pace. I was kind of expecting the bottom to be the dominant lane, but that outside lane's running pretty good.
Yeah, the outside lane looks really strong. It's just so hard to complete that pass, it looks like, on the inside, unless you just have a tremendous run and you just send it into the corner. Here comes Elliot Henderson, though, on the high side. I've been seeing him make some moves. He's up to the... Look, oh, contact! The 34 of Robert Kenny through the grass. And he's going to make contact with the 54 of Tom Bourne. And then the huge wreck going into turns 1 and 2.
Oh, that is massive contact. That is at least 6 or 7 drivers involved in that one. Initially, with Tom Bourne involved as one of the first drivers, that's going to take out multiple contenders in this race.
Wow, and amongst those taken out, Jacob Bransky in that 23. There you see him in that Mountain Dew machine. A little bit of damage to him. Championship contender. Ty Aiken has a destroyed race car in the number 71. He looked like he had some speed.
Oh, man, that is extremely unfortunate for Jacob Bransky to get that bit of damage right there. He was just stuck in the middle of the pack and ended up getting involved because he really had nowhere to go to get out of the way. So that's one of
Woodall's turning Aiken. Woodall's turning Aiken. We have beef.
Oh, boy. We have aggression on the racetrack. I suppose Woodall believes that Ty Aiken was the cause of that incident. We'll have to look at it. But man, the controversy and beef, as you said, on the racetrack.
We have the replays stacking up here. It looks like at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Insanity. A lot of good drivers. I noticed that Christopher Heller was driving around in a Whelen Modified on the track. A lot of destroyed race cars out there. Here's the 34. It looks like of Kenny right here. Comes up and just tries to save it and gets right in front of Bourne. And then Bourne makes contact with Heller and it just stacks up right there. You see the 34 of Kenny all the way down to the bottom of the track. He was able to save it for the most part.
That was just a massive stack up. We're going to be looking for, we hear Matt Daniels managed to sneak his way through this accident. Look at him right behind that. Ooh, ah. Apparently not. But surprisingly, with how much contact there was, there isn't as much damage as I would expect. Though he is missing his rear bumper now.
A lot of good race cars taken out in that accident. A lot of good race cars. Here's Christopher Heller before he turns his car into a Whelen Modified. Gets up into the wall, looks like with Tom Bourne, and just calamity. He goes for a spin. He's probably pretty dizzy after that one. That was just massive for Christopher Heller. That's huge for the points. Same thing with Bransky involved in that incident.
I'm trying to figure out just how many drivers here got into this incident. I'm trying to figure out, I believe it's almost 8 or 9 different drivers all involved in this turn 1 and 2 incident. All started with that massive stack up in the middle of a trioval and the accordion effect from when he tried to rejoin onto the racetrack. Just massive accident going through turn 1 and 2.
Just to put it in perspective here, drivers like William Barbeculata and Matthew Rodriguez, they were all the way in the... Oh, here's the turn after the fact from Woodall and Aiken. And Aiken wasn't too happy about that, and I couldn't blame him. A lot of damage to that machine getting turned after the fact. But as I was saying, just to put it in perspective, drivers like William Barbeculata and Matt Rodriguez, I think they're both outside the top 20 or at the very end of the top 20 right when that caution came out, right before that caution came out. And they're both in the top 10 now. So many cars were involved in that incident.
Yeah, a lot of guys who were just riding around in the back, possibly just trying to save tire or anything, kind of had themselves in the perfect position for that, because that wreck happened right at the front of the field, caught up a lot of the guys in the middle, and just gave the guys in the back so much time to get out of the way of the wreck. that now they're sitting up here just inside the top 10 because of it.
And this $50 bounty has all of a sudden became a Texas shootout right here. This is insane. And we're in North Carolina.
Yeah, I guess you could say that for sure. I mean, nowhere else have I seen that many cars wreck that early in the race. But man, we've got a lot going on here. I'm also seeing that Elliot Henderson, who wasn't even involved in the wreck, did come down pit road, so he's going to be further back in the pack around the 13th position, it looks like. So that's our championship leader right there. I guess trying to capitalize on the incident from Bransky and assume he could try and pull a different strategy from the rest of the field.
Reading in the chat, it looks like Jacob Bransky might have some engine damage on that 23 machine, so we'll be watching out for him on the restart. Like I said, that accident was huge for him on points. There you see our top 5, though. Stafford's still out in front. Miller's in the 2nd spot. Madalinas in 3rd. Look at Fitzgerald gotten up into the top 5 and 4th, and then you have Jacob Manning in 5th as well, having a good run here at the beginning.
Jacob Manning was one of those lucky ones. He was up there right at the front of the field, pretty much right next to the incident, but managed to get out of the way of it. So that's one of our Great Lakes drivers getting lucky to avoid that one.
Green flag racing here after our first caution flag. Still 140 laps to go here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, and here comes the pace truck down pit road, and Bronson Stafford's going to lead him to the green flag as it waves, and here goes the 61, and Madalinas was well ready for that. He's underneath Miller, and he's looking to maybe clear him going into 1 and 2.
Not as good of a start on the outside that time for Jake Miller. That's going to allow Madalinas to get to the inside of him into 1 and 2, clear him, come off turn 2, and that now Gavin Fitzgerald to the inside looking for the 3rd spot. Now actually the 2nd position as he gets inside of Madalinas as well with a great push from Manning. Oh, extremely tight for Madalinas. He's going to hang on to that quarter panel. We're still racing for the 2nd spot.
Like I said, it's just so hard to complete that pass on the inside. That was a great move from Fitzgerald. Now he's on the inside of Madalinas, but can he complete the pass? Madalinas going to give him a little bit of a squeeze into 1 and 2. It's just so hard to get that run off the corner. And here comes Madalinas, and he's going to get the run down the back stretch.
The bottom on the restart seems to be fantastic. Definitely the preferred lane, but as the run starts to go on, that outside lane seems to have some decent pace as long as you could get a bunch of guys in line down the straightaway. But that Gavin Fitzgerald's going to fight by him and get back into the 2nd position, try and run down our leader.
Gavin gets into 2nd place. Hunter giving him words of trying to hype him up, I guess, a little bit. Here comes Fitzgerald. He's trying to get up to Stafford. Stafford's looked so strong here early. Can Fitzgerald make the move in the Giant Tiger Ford? Here he goes to the inside. He's at his quarter panel. Can he get the run off the corner? Here comes Madalinas.
Kind of missed the corner a little bit from our leader. He's going to manage to hold on, but he's getting a lot of help from Madalinas going down the straightaway. He wants to get by this FRN driver and get some Great Lakes guys to the front of this race as he pulls inside out of turn 2.
Gavin's on the inside, coming down the back stretch. Can Fitzgerald complete the pass? He's getting followed by Madalinas. Fitzgerald's going to send it into 3 and 4. Can he slide up? Not quite. Stafford's still at his quarter panel. Can Stafford get the run off and stay to his outside? It looks like he will. Looks like Stafford even led this lap.
He's not going to get a lot of help, though, as almost every single Great Lakes guy is going to go inside and help Gavin Fitzgerald. Bronson's almost on his own there on the outside lane as it's a train of Great Lakes behind him.
Flatout Racing Network. Bronson Stafford on the outside. And he's just trying to stick up there. He's trying to stick at his quarter panel. He's doing a great job of it. Great racing from the 61 machine. Gavin just can't quite complete the pass right now.
Got some great dogfighting around the 3rd, 4th position now as Jacob Manning moves his way into the 3rd position as Madalinas is stuck on the bottom with Barbeculata to his outside.
William Barbeculata, Mr. Excitement in the number 27. Interstate Batteries Toyota is looking to take away that 4th spot from Hunter Madalinas. He's fighting hard. Jake Miller is right behind these drivers as well. And here comes Nathan Nicholson in the 47. We haven't talked about him all day.
Yeah, both him and Barbeculata came way from the back of this pack to get towards the front, especially after that incident. They got really lucky to get to the front there, but just behind them is Jacob Bransky running a pretty solid pace for what he said might have been engine damage. So it doesn't seem to be affecting him too poorly right now.
Oh, almost contact right there. That was very close racing between Nicholson and Madalinas. Oh, Nicholson slides up, almost contact again. The 47 and the 17 racing very hard right here in those Toyotas.
Madalinas has been dropping spots like crazy. He's just been put in the wrong positions at the wrong time, and he's already lost 6 positions from where he was trying to race with Nicholson to hold on to that spot. But towards the second position, Jacob Manning is going for the pass on Gavin Fitzgerald.
Manning's looking to complete that pass on the high side, and it looks like he might be able to coming out of 4. Gavin's fighting tough on that inside, though. Very close racing coming off the corner. Gavin not giving up the second spot easy at all. And here comes Barbeculata with the push. And it looks like Gavin might clear him going into 1 and 2. He will.
And just behind them coming into the picture is Shane Therian, who we thought would be one of the best coming into this race. And here he is starting to get his way towards the front of this field, battling right now for the 5th position.
Shane here might be one of those drivers that lets his tires just do the talking. He just kind of saves his tires for later on in the run because he's been coming up these last few laps as Hunter Madalinas has been doing the opposite, as you pointed out.
Yeah, Madalinas seems to be struggling right now. He's way back in the pack at the moment, all the way down to, I believe he's all the way down to the 11th position. So he's been on a downward tank as they battle strong in the middle of this pack. Oh my god, for the 3rd and 4th position, there's some tight racing.
Yeah, almost some contact, it looked like, between Shane and Nathan Nicholson. It looked like the 83 and the 47 right there. Here comes Aaron Duclos as well in the number 97 creeping into the picture. And Elliot Henderson has just been hiding out back there, only just been hiding out a couple of tenths behind these main group of cars. I think he's just trying to keep his car out of trouble. Oh, and right when I say that, there goes Manning and Miller. Manning and Miller and Duclos with the big hit. Miller, and there's Henderson.
Elliot Henderson's gotten involved. That's our championship leader right now involved in this incident in the center of turns 1 and 2. He got turned around trying to miss the wreck, and now he for sure has damage.
Oh, God. It looked like Henderson was playing it safe. I don't think he expected that to happen and got taken out there at the end of the incident. A lot of damage to Jake Miller as well in the 57. He is missing his nose on that machine. Here we are going to look at the replay of the incident. Here's Manning in front of Miller, and they're just looks like Manning wasn't sure of what lane he wanted to go in, and Miller was sure, and Miller kind of sent it into the corner, and they just were fighting for the same position on the track, it looked like.
Yeah, I think Jake Miller was trying to give a push and wasn't exactly following Manning exactly in the right spot, and just tagged him on that right rear quarter panel, and even the slightest contact in that direction can turn a car around, and as we saw right there, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, the way this race has been going with all these totaled cars, I see you in the chat, Aaron. I'm kind of glad I'm not racing in this right now because this is a good show for us, but this is crazy with these drivers. A lot of incidents, a lot of destroyed race cars. It's going to be the survival of the fittest here at this point. Jacob Manning and Miller, heavy contact once again right here. Duclos is barely getting the clip of it. And it looked like Henderson thought he was in the clear right there and just got clipped by Miller, getting clipped by Duclos. Just a lot of unfortunate events leading to the wreck of Elliot Henderson.
Well, now both of our championship leaders actually have damage, so this is going to make their race more even than either of them would have hoped for it to be. And now, not only do they have damaged cars, but they're probably not going to get as many points for this race because of that damage, because there's just so many other cars still left in this race who don't have damage yet.
So we got a new race. Oh, no, never mind. Austin Moore, I think, is just getting a lap back. Never mind. He is 2 laps down. But there's the onboard from Elliot Henderson. A very hard hit. And you can just tell from that, I really just, in his mind, he probably thought he was in the clear right there. He probably thought he was clear of the wreck, that nothing else was happening, and just got clipped in the quarter panel, essentially, in the right side door almost by Jake Miller. Here's Jacob Manning's on board. Yeah, wheeling and dealing it. It looks like that number 1 machine just trying his best to save it, but there was just no saving that machine with all the cars right behind him.
Yeah, it just looked as though Jake went a little bit higher than he would have liked, and probably expected Jacob Manning to also go up towards the wall as well, and just nicked him in the right rear quarter panel and turned him around.
A lot of big-time contenders are already taken out in this race. And the one that's looking the best right now out of Bransky and Henderson, I think might be Bransky. I don't know how severe Henderson's damage is. Bransky thought he might have engine damage, but he looked like he was pretty strong. I wouldn't say he was as strong as he usually would be at a track like this, but he still looks strong nonetheless. I'm just curious on how bad Henderson's damage might be and if that might ruin his race.
Well, we have some interesting strategy playing out. Almost everybody pit except for one driver. That is our current leader, Robert Kenny, in the number 34, who is deciding to not take tires under this caution and want to stay out instead.
Robert Kenny out here out front. A couple of Flatout Racing Network guys up here in the top 10. You got Robert, Bronson, and Shane, the 34, the 61, and the 83, all making their first appearances here in the Great Lakes Cup Series. Now here comes Kenny, it looks like, to get some tires and fuel possibly here.
All right, well, so much for that strategy. I think maybe he just thought that the loss of not being on tires there was not worth the risk and thought rather come in now, possibly have better fuel over the field, as they did run at a few laps under caution as well. So he'll have the slight advantage there, but he has lost all of his track position.
A little over half a lap from going green flag racing once again here. After caution number 2, still very early on in this race, only 25 laps in out of 150 here on the Flatout Racing Network at Charlotte Motor Speedway, the Great Lakes Cup Series. Our leader is still Bronson Stafford in the 61 machine. On his outside will be Gavin Fitzgerald. Right behind Stafford, you have William Barbeculata. And then on his outside, you have Shane Therian. Is that how you pronounce his name? I'm sorry if I'm butchering.
I would say it's Shane Therian. So I think you're about right there. If not, we'll probably hear an earful of it afterwards.
Oh, we will. Here comes the pace truck off 3 and 4. Going to come down pit road. And the 61 of Stafford's once again going to lead him to the green flag, and a great restart from him. And Barbeculata is right there behind him. And he looks like he might clear Fitzgerald going into 1 and 2. Here comes the 83. Shane going to go to the inside of Gavin. Can he make the move? And here comes Bransky as well. Bransky's back in the top 5 here.
And Jacob Bransky is right there with these leaders. He's going to actually go inside of Shane and try and take that third position. Whatever damage he has must be somewhere else, because it doesn't seem to be on his race cars. He's racing competitively at the front of the field.
Bransky here trying to take away that third spot. Looked like he might have been in the dumps earlier on, and now he's here in the third spot, while Elliot Henderson's now the one with the troubles possibly. Bransky might not be able to make the move here. He might have to fall in behind the 83, but there's no space there. Here comes Fitzgerald to the outside. Barbeculata looks like he's going to go for the lead in the 27. Here comes William Barbeculata. He's going to try to make the move on Stafford. Can he make the pass?
There's 2 FRN cars lined up on the outside after Shane had a fantastic move coming out of turn 2, narrowly getting to the outside of Barbeculata. But ending into turn 1, they're still side by side. The lead is not done with yet. There's still the battle going on.
This is a hard-fought battle here at the very front. You have Stafford and Barbeculata not giving up on either side. And here comes Therian. Therian in the number 83. He's going to try to clear the 27 of Barbeculata, and he will. And here comes Gavin Fitzgerald now on the outside of Barbeculata. Barbeculata is able to clear Fitzgerald. Here comes Bransky. Now Madalinas is back in the picture.
We'll see if Madalinas is taking advantage of this new tire set and changing up his driving so that he doesn't fall off as much like he did on the last run. And as of right now, he's making moves, so whatever he's doing right now is working. You just have to see if it's still working later on.
Yeah, that's the big key. Will it work on later on in this race? It's a very long race, and these drivers are still driving very hard right here around the 10th position. Here's Austin Moore as well in the number 91. He started this race a couple laps down, and he's trying to get those laps back. He looks like he's he's 3 laps down right now. It looks like the number 91 machine, and he wants to get some of these laps back. Might try to get one of them back the old-fashioned way.
He definitely is quick. He did qualify in the 3rd position, so we know he has a quick race car and can find himself at the front of the field. It's just a matter of will he be able to get all those laps back, because 3 laps is a lot to be able to make up in such a short race. I'm not sure he'll be able to do it.
Well, currently there's no one else a lap down, so if Austin Moore is able to maybe get up there and get one of his laps back the old-fashioned way and a caution comes out, he's already going to be just 1 lap down. And we've seen how these drivers have raced here today. They're racing very aggressive. A lot of these drivers want that $50 bounty. And right when it's that, there goes Madalinas, and he's going to save it. A lot of damage to Nicholson. That's another championship contender. All 4 of our main championship contenders have had a lot of incidents here today. You have Nicholson now involved in that. You have Heller, you have Henderson, and you have Bransky.
And Nicholson probably got some of the worst damage of what I've seen today, as he got into the rear end and almost got in the wall, but has a ton of front end damage right now.
Lot of damage to that number 47 machine. You hate to see it. All of our championship contenders have faced troubles here today, and Nicholson has just been added to the list in that number 47 machine.
And it did just kind of look as though Gavin got to the inside of Madalinas. Maybe Madalinas didn't know, or Gavin just didn't check up in time, but luckily everybody did manage to save it. We're still sitting green, and the top 4 pulled away because of it.
You're saying sitting green, but I'm seeing green. This top 4 all green. We got 2 FRN cars here at the front with Shane and Stafford here. And then you have Barbeculata and Bransky right in behind them as well. All 4 Toyotas, by the way.
Yeah, there's some Toyota power going on here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, but what I am surprised about is the fact that one of them is Jacob Bransky. I mean, I don't know if he was trying to trick us with this engine damage, but he's not losing anything. He's easily running with these top 3 drivers and not losing any time at all, it looks like.
Bransky does look strong in that number 23. I think tonight at this point, you just want to get out of here with as many points as you can with the way this race has been. You see Henderson back there in the 37. He's not running too bad of lap times. There at the very beginning of that run, he kind of fell back immediately for those first couple of laps. But once these drivers got a couple of laps on their tires, he was able to maintain pace, and he's caught back up to some of these drivers because he's been able to maintain that pace, and he hasn't been using as much tires.
And that's really all you can do when you have damage in these cars. You just kind of have to rely on the draft to give you some lap time and just make sure you don't burn off the tires, because that's the worst thing you can do when you have damage, is try and keep up with everybody early in the run. You simply are just not going to be able to do it. And I'm sure Elliot is one of those drivers who has enough experience to know not to do that and how to do it.
You see Madalinas and Austin Moore battling it out here. Moore's trying to get at least one of those laps back the old-fashioned way. Madalinas currently sitting in the 7th spot in that number 17 machine. He's been around a lot of incidents today, and he's been in a lot of trouble, but that car doesn't really have any damage on it, Alex.
Yeah, he may have almost gotten turned earlier in the race, but luckily the kind of way he was turned and how he ended up meant that he didn't really gain any contact, as he almost got into the lap car of Christopher Heller down the back straightaway, but narrowly manages to get away with that. And he's just running very solidly right now and looking to not lose out like he did in the first run.
Beginning to see a little separation here from some of these drivers as the tires continue to wear out here a little bit on the Charlotte Motor Speedway surface. Here you see our front 4 still up here, but you see there's a little bits of gap. All those gaps in between these drivers is a little bit bigger. They're separating just a little bit. Stafford looking very strong here at the front. He's still looking very strong here at the front.
Yeah, he's been very solid out in the front with a teammate with Shane Therian right behind him. He's kind of got a little bit of a buffer if these 2 drivers right behind him want to try and make a move towards the front of that field. So he's kind of got a warning sign to help him stay out front, as I don't believe he will make the move for the lead until very late in this race.
Oh, almost contact looked like in the wall back there from Madalinas. But these drivers are still lined up. They're lined up right now. I think just trying to take it easy, maybe trying to cool down. Some of these drivers might be trying to cool down their tires, and some of these drivers are just flat out possibly falling off. I've been impressed with Madalinas this run. I've mentioned him multiple times just because he's faced multiple incidents, and he seems a little bit stronger this run than last run. He seemed to have fallen off very hard there near the end of that run. And he seems to have a little more speed on this run.
Yeah, he's keeping up a lot better, but the one problem is that he's a part of this second pack, as right now we've got pretty much two distinct packs with the front four and then the rest of the field, as we've seen a pass for the lead of that second pack with Robert Kenny making the move to the inside of Fitzgerald. He will clear it going into turn one, but the second pack has just been losing time. Right now, they're about 2 seconds away from the front pack, and just 4 laps ago, they were a second and a half.
And they're definitely falling back quick. But now Robert Kenny is out in front. Let's see what Kenny can maybe do at the head of this pack here at the back of the pack. Number 34 of Robert Kenny has looked pretty strong here tonight. 3 FRN cars running here in the top 5. They're running very strong, and Matt Rodriguez running in that 9th spot. So Flatout Racing Network has really put it on, bringing in some good drivers here tonight.
Yeah, luckily, most of their cars are still in the race right now. A couple of them got into that first incident that we had early in the race, but it doesn't seem to be affecting the rest of them too poorly. As, like you said, we have 3 of them inside the top 5, and now it's just a matter of the other 2 of Kenny and Rodriguez. Will they be able to catch up being stuck in the second pack? As over the last few laps, they've lost 2 tenths to these front 4.
We are approaching the lap car of Matt Daniels. Looks like Matt Daniels is just going to get out of the way of the leaders. Stafford leading the field. Here comes Therian in the number 83. He's going to pass him on the inside. Barbeculata and Bransky still keeping in tow right here. All 4 of these drivers just sticking it together. That backpack has really calmed down a lot over these last 5 or 10 laps. But they've realized they really need to start at least somewhat working together and trying to catch up to this front pack. But they're still losing time, it looks like, Alex.
Yeah, they definitely are. And the one thing I'm noticing is the guys towards the front of the pack are kind of running the middle lane. Except for the Brady down in 1 and 2, they're kind of just, especially in 3 and 4, they're running right in the middle. And honestly, I think that's probably hurting their tires, as you're having to carry more speed through the center of the corner to run a decent lap time down there, and it's just not working for them over this run, as they're just losing time to these front guys as they start battling now for what is the 6th position.
And here you see it on your screen. Gavin Fitzgerald and Hunter Madalena's battling it out for the 6th spot. Here comes Elliot Henderson right behind him. A little bit of damage to that 37 machine. He's just trying to get as many points as he can tonight. Oh! Madalenas and Fitzgerald they made contact not too long ago in 3 and 4. I wonder if these drivers remember that, Alex.
I'm sure they do. The problem is, I mean, hopefully there's no hard feelings between these 2 drivers, but you never know. Racers are racers, and they remember everything. So there might be a little bit of payback later in this race, as long as hopefully it doesn't spin them.
The drivers tend to remember, and Fitzgerald and Madalena's battling it out for the 6th spot. Henderson right in behind these guys. Matt Rodriguez not too far behind him as well, having a good run in that 9th spot.
You know, something I think could become an issue later on in this race is some guys just really struggle on tires, and more of these cars that were damaged struggle to come back out on track just to gain some points, is that these lap cars could be a big issue. These guys are having a really hard time making it through the center of these corners and coming off the corner. They're just wanting to drive up towards the wall. That's just how this car behaves, and if there's a car to your outside and you catch them at the wrong time, we could see problems happen with that. So we might have to watch out for some lap cars to see if it shuffles up the field.
Yeah, we're definitely going to have to watch out for that, especially when drivers like up here in the top 4 are coming past lap cars, because it's just really all about timing. It's really all about when you catch that lap car. You hope to catch that lap car on a straightaway. That way you can pass them fairly easily. But if you pass them in the corner, it's not like you can't get past them easily. It just really slows your exit speed, really slows you down quite a bit, and that driver behind you is just going to catch up immediately.
Yeah, and just ahead of the leaders as well is going to be Jacob Manning in the 1, who's about a second off their pace. So they're going to catch them pretty quickly, I imagine, within the next 2 or 3 laps. And that could be a car that shuffles up the field, because right in front of them is Christopher Heller, who's running even slower at almost 2 seconds a lap slower.
This could get very interesting here. These drivers are probably going to get out of the race leader's way, but like we said, it's really all about that. I feel like it's really all about that exit speed, and you're middle of your corner, you're not able to hit the gas where you want to. It's just really going to hurt your exit speed on the corner, and you're just going to be suffering down the whole straightaway, whether it's the front stretch or the back stretch. As we see Stafford in the 61 increase his lead a little bit over these last few laps.
I mean, it's kind of the advantage he has right now. He has that clean air, and he has the grip in his front tires more so than anybody else behind him does. So he's able to treat the car a lot more carefully while still running a pretty solid lap time. And I imagine before long, within probably the next 10 laps, that gap is only just going to open up even more.
These drivers get past Heller pretty easily in the number 11 machine. Now Stafford's approaching the lap car of Jacob Manning. Not too far behind him. Should catch him maybe this lap, if not next. Sounds like Manning's going to go high in 3 and 4. So we'll see if maybe when these drivers catch Manning, and if it maybe will affect their exit speed. Manning really gets on the brakes, it looks like, here, and just going to let them all by. Very, very good move, a veteran move from the number 1 of Jacob Manning.
Yeah, he could have tried to shuffle up the field there a little bit, but he's going to decide to get out of the way instead and let these guys race it out. I mean, he's not really racing for any position, so that really is the most ideal move for him to do at the moment. And it's going to allow these leaders to keep the status quo at the moment.
Well, while we have a moment here before we do any pit stops or hopefully not have any more action here for the next maybe 2 minutes, we're going to go into a side-by-side here.
Welcome, race fans. This is Paul Page, the voice of IndyCars. And today we're excited to present another IndyCar event brought to you by the Dark Horse IndyCar Series. From the Unzers to Mears, Foyt, and Andretti, now it's Corley, Peterson, Davies, Gardner, and T. You can expect high speeds, incredible wheel-to-wheel action, and intense drama that you could only get in an IndyCar. So sit back and enjoy your favorite drivers from all over the world take the track. Dark Horse IndyCar drivers, start your engine. Welcome, race fans. This is Paul Page, the voice of IndyCars. And today we're excited to present another IndyCar event brought to you by the Dark Horse IndyCar Series. From the Unzers to Mears, Foyt, and Andretti, now it's Corley, Peterson, Davies, Gardner, and T. You can expect high speeds, incredible wheel-to-wheel action, and intense drama that you could only get in an IndyCar. So sit back and enjoy your favorite drivers from all over the world take the track. Dark Horse IndyCar drivers, start your engine.
Hello and welcome back to Charlotte Motor Speedway. You didn't miss too much. Definitely a phenomenal pass I saw moments ago from William Barbeculata. And try to get your replay on that in a moment. But pretty much other than that, they kept it pretty calm. There was an almost incident, it looked like, in the back between, I think it was Robert Kenny and Hunter Madalinas, but they were able to keep it clean. And they continue to fall back from this front pack. They're almost 7 seconds back right now of these front 4 guys. So that's a huge gap from 4th to 5th right now.
Yes. I believe we must be cursed, Kyle, because these guys were keeping it calm and keeping the status quo for over 20 laps, and then the moment we come away, they start racing at the front of the field. I mean, what are the chances of that? These guys just really don't like us commentating over some great racing.
Here you're going to see it right here. William Barbeculata and the number 27 machine able to set up a move, make that legend. Oh, I'm disappointed now. I thought that was it. There it is. The pass in the grass, the number 27 gets in the grass, gets underneath the 83. William Barbeculata, aka Mr. Excitement's version of the pass in the grass at Charlotte Motor Speedway, and he gets the pass done on Shane Therian in the 83. What a wonderful move from William Barbeculata, aka Mr. Excitement, and he shows us why that's his nickname tonight.
Yeah, and they're dueling for the 3rd position now. Bransky had gotten ahead of Therian just before. Therian passed him back, and now once again Bransky's back into the 3rd position. I'm thinking whatever damage Jacob Bransky told us about, he must have been lying to all of us, because it doesn't look like he has any damage at all.
And the number 23 of Jacob Bransky was saying in the chat that he thought he was down RPMs, but he looks very strong. The dog in the 3rd spot, the number 23 of Jacob Bransky, looking to maximize his points here tonight. He's in 3rd spot, while Henderson rides in the 7th spot right now.
Yeah, this is a troubling situation for Elliot Henderson, as right now Bransky's able to run at the front of the field. He has the pace to stay up there, but Elliot is struggling to race these guys. Currently what is for the 6th position, as he just about makes the move, but is going to be side by side out of 4. No, he will manage to clear him, and he's only just now making up positions, but he's so far away from these front 4 drivers that there's really no hope after Madalinas to make up any more spots.
Here comes into the picture Zach Rogers. We haven't mentioned him all day. He's driven himself up to the 9th spot, and he's right here behind Gavin Fitzgerald, looking to take away that 8th spot away from the number 14 Giant Tiger driver.
Zach Rogers just kind of bided his time there at the back of the field, just kind of waiting for his time to play out. And now he's starting to come up and race with these guys a little bit. I don't believe he's gotten in any incidents today, so he does have a clean race car at least. So it's going to allow these moves to be a lot easier than some of these other drivers.
Rogers making some moves back here in that 8th spot, trying to get up to 7th now. He's looking ahead to Robert Kenny in that number 34, trying to get up to him. And Henderson got past Kenny, and he's driven away the last couple of laps already. He's already almost a half a second in front of Kenny.
I mean, Elliot Henderson is notorious for having some excellent long-run pace, so he's likely to do very well. It's just a question of will he be able to catch Madalinas in front of him, as the times are pretty even as they come over the line, I believe. So I'm not sure if he will be able to catch him. It might take a little while. He did lose just about a 10th that last lap. So we'll see if he can turn that around and start running him down.
Another driver I've been looking at to possibly run down somebody is William Barbeculata. Consistently the last 4 laps, he's ran faster lap times than Stafford. Not by much, only by around either a half a tenth to a full tenth. But he is cutting into that gap a little bit. He's almost 6 tenths now behind Stafford. When he took away that position, I think he was around maybe a second behind Stafford, because these drivers fell back a little bit from Stafford.
And these new guys coming into this race probably do have experience in other races on these longer events, but really the Great Lakes guys have a lot of experience with extremely long runs, so a lot of them are pretty solid at saving tire and having very good pace in the longer runs that honestly not many people on this service happen to have, as we see one of the first drivers to come down pit road with Robert Kenny coming down the pit lane on lap 68.
It's been around 45 laps since Kenny came down pit road, so this might be the beginning of the pit window here? Will we see those dominoes fall? Will we see other drivers make the move down pit road here momentarily?
As of right now, I'm not seeing
Here comes
many
Fitzgerald.
Yep, here comes Gavin Fitzgerald. So a lot of these guys in the mid pack are starting to decide to come down pit road. It's just a matter of when will the leaders decide to do it, because they've lost a pretty solid amount of time, just under 2 seconds of lap time at the front of the field. So everybody who's coming into the pit lane is going to be gaining a lot of time on them, and only a matter of 5 or 6 laps they'll have gained so much time that by the time they come in, they'll be ahead of the leaders.
Here you see Henderson and that damage he has right there in 37. Now we're looking at a race leader of Stafford. Henderson has a lot of left front damage and left hood damage to this 37 machine. It definitely seems to be hindering him a little more than Bransky, because Bransky doesn't really seem to have any damage on that machine too much. But I did hear him over the radio momentarily ago that he still thinks he's down RPMs as he comes down pit road. And Stafford comes down as well, it looks like. Therian stays out.
Therian, the only one of our top 4 to stay out. He's probably only going to go this 1 extra lap and come in this next time by, but there's a good amount of drivers that are coming in. Zach Rogers as well looks like he's going to be coming into the pit lane alongside Elliott Henderson as well. And so these drivers are taking the gamble to come down pit lane now. The only other drivers who are still out on track are Matthew Rodriguez and Shane Therian.
A couple of drivers still out there on the racetrack. It looks like Therian once again is going to forego pit road in the number 83 machine. Looking to still lead the race. Shane in the number 83. I might be hoping on a caution, or he might be pulling that Elliot Henderson sort of strategy where he just stays out as really either as long as he can or an extra couple of laps at least to try to have the upper hand at the end of the run.
Could be possible. It could be trying to stretch out the fuel a little bit as well, as if they've only got about 40 laps. They'll just about make it from where the other guys pit. But if you go a little bit later, you're slightly more secure on that. So, plus you will have the slight tire advantage, as now Shane Therian comes down pit lane. We'll have to see if Rodriguez does. He does not. He continues to stay out. So he's going to be the last driver still out on the racetrack. And he will be the last one to pit. We'll just have to see when he eventually does.
With Matthew Rodriguez taking the lead, that means every Flatout Racing Network driver has led this race. That's pretty cool. Rodriguez is going to stay out here. I don't know if he's going to hope for a caution. Right when I say that, Madalena spins out. There goes Hunter. Wow. And Rodriguez is going to be the race leader. This changes everything. This is huge.
And there's a few drivers that are a lap down. I'm not sure how many are. Have to check up on that. I think most of everybody managed to actually get back around the leader in time. There's only about 2 other drivers that were on the lead lap that are now a lap down. And yeah, Madalena's coming out of the pit lane, just kind of went straight. Looks like a device issue. Might have been his steering wheel disconnecting or something, as he just went straight into the wall coming out of the pit lane.
I was overhearing him on the radio. It sounded like he said that he just lost talent right there. But from what I've seen and what I've experienced, I think he just like slammed the gas, just trying to go as quick as he could, and just lost complete control of the 17, I think.
Oh, I'm watching the replay myself. It looks as though, yeah, as he was coming back onto the racetrack, he crossed over those seams that are on the apron. There's a bit different banking down there. And so you could cross over that, and suddenly you have all this extra right side grip. He got loose, tried to correct it, and then turned himself into the outside wall, as we see an onboard of it right here.
Here's the onboard of the number 17, Hunter Madalenas, Great Lake Racing's version of the closer right here. And let's see him come off pit road. You see him turning left. He just completely lost control of that 17 right when it hit the seam, just as you said, Alex. Great job by Fitzgerald having the reactions to dive low and avoid that, though, by the way.
Yeah, thankfully no other drivers involved in that incident, but that's going to pretty much end the race for Madalena. So that's a pretty decent pace there in that second run. He was sitting there in the 5th position, pulled away from the rest of the field. So sadly, his race is going to be over. But what that will do is, I'm looking at the lineup orders right now. Looks like Elliot Henderson sitting in the 4th position, and Gavin Fitzgerald sitting in 5th because of when Shane pit. He lost 2 spots on track position.
just looking at the gaps on when these drivers had last pitted, it looked like Gavin was one of those first drivers that came down pit road. So he has the oldest tires out of this bunch by 2 laps, while everybody else in this front bunch came in on the exact same lap. So we'll see if that will put Gavin at a disadvantage here on this run.
Reason to believe it will, as well as just the way these cars behave. They fall off a lot of lap time here at this racetrack. Reminder, we're running at the old Charlotte. Old Charlotte does have some pretty decent wear on the tires because of the older surface. So going into the pit lane and running those extra few laps is going to make a pretty decent amount of difference. So sitting right now in the 5th position, I'm not sure if he'll be able to hold it.
Driver I would like to commend right now, you see him there at the front in that modified looking machine, Christopher Heller. He's just staying out there trying to get as many points as he can, and he's going to be able to get some more points. He's only 2 laps behind Nick Martin. Jacob Manning and Hunter Madalinas are out of the race, so he's going to be able to snag those spots away. So he's really just trying to maybe make it back-to-back championships by getting as many points as he can here at Charlotte.
Yeah, he is trying to do that. Sadly, he is pretty far out in the points at the moment, and today is definitely not going to help. Currently 21 laps down. He is going to likely gain some positions on some of these other drivers who just recently got into incidents. But his day is not going to be a good one for his championship hopes as we reach towards the end of this season.
Let's see if the lights are going to go out on the pace truck this time by. Heller's going to have to quickly work his way around the track. There goes the lights on the pace truck, and there goes Heller, going to drive past the pace truck and get at least one of those laps back right there. And it looks like Stafford's going to decide on the inside lane, which will push Bransky up high. Barbeculata once again will restart right behind Stafford on the inside. And now we have Henderson, Elliot Henderson, up here in the 4th spot with his biggest championship contender, I would say, the number 23 of Bransky right in front of him. Interested to see how they race each other here.
I don't believe Elliott's going to make anything drastic happen. He's just going to hope to be able to stick up with the front pack this time, as last time all the racing that happened behind the front 4 caused them to separate, and they really couldn't get back together. So I'm sure Elliott, sitting in what would be the spot that separated last time, hoping to be one of the guys that separate this time.
Bransky going to restart on that high side. Let's see how he can get it done on the high side. That very initial start of the race, Jake Miller was able to get a phenomenal start on the high side. But ever since then, the high side has not been strong whatsoever on these restarts. Let's see what Bransky can maybe do up there with Henderson right behind him. The pace truck pulls down pit road, and here comes Stafford to the restart zone. Great restart. Once again, the high side not able to get going as quick as the low side. Here comes Barbeculata in the 27 looking to maybe clear Bransky going to 1 and 2. And here comes Fitzgerald trying to get to Henderson as well. Henderson's going to make the move on Bransky here. Going to try to take away the 3rd spot.
Bransky did not get a good restart that time. He was late to the gas, and that allowed Barbeculata to get inside, and Elliott as well. But Gavin looks to the inside of Elliott now going into turn 3. He does not have a damaged race car, unlike Elliott, so he should be able to pull away from him, as he should have some pretty decent straightaway speed. But I say that just the run around the outside for Elliott is going to allow him to be slightly ahead going into turn 1.
This is a great racing here at the beginning of this restart. A little over 70 laps to go. Gavin Fitzgerald's trying to take away the 3rd spot from Mr. Bobby Carter. Elliot Henderson, who's trying to race back from the damaged race car he has, with Bransky right behind him as well, are 2 championship contenders involved in massive incidents. 3 wide off the corner. Some great racing here. Shane Therian in the 83 coming in right behind as well.
Gavin got extremely tight in the center of 3 and 4, almost got into Elliott. That allowed Bransky to sneak his way inside, and now he's inside of Elliott looking for the 3rd position. And just behind them is Shane Therian looking to find his way back up into the top 4.
Well, this is going on. The top 2 looks to try to check out. Bronson Stafford and William Barbeculata are trying to check out on the field, while there's just a massive battle from 3rd on back. Elliot Henderson, Gavin Fitzgerald, and Jacob Bransky keep on switching up for position up here.
And coming around the outside of Therian is Rodriguez on those newer tires. Got lucky with the caution. He's the only driver that does not have heat in those tires going on to this run. So he's at a pretty strong advantage if he could manage to find some track position.
Yeah, Rodriguez needs to pounce on this. He has the freshest tires out of this bunch. He needs to make these moves. And he's on the outside right now of another FRN machine of the 83 of Therian. Can Rodriguez maybe complete the pass and get up here and maybe try to compete to get into the top 5?
Looks to not be able to do it at the moment. He is still racing side by side with Shane Therian as the top 5 start to single file out. They're racing for the 6th position, but Therian, who was up there in the top 4, actually in 2nd for most of that last run, is struggling at the moment.
You also have to keep in mind with Therian, if you noticed him on that first run, he was just kind of hanging out in the back, but when it came down to the end of the run, he was right up there near the front. So maybe he's just taking it easy on these tires here early on in this run and waiting for the later part of the run. No point in battling it out right now, especially when you're sitting in the draft.
Yeah, I suppose so. I mean, right at the moment, it's just, if he tries in battles for spots, he's just going to get stuck as all the guys in front of him are just going to give him dirty air in the front end. He's not really going to be able to pass. As I say that right there, he gives a bump to Fitzgerald. Got such a great run out of turn 4. He almost got to his left rear quarter panel. Sadly, was not able to do it going through the tri-oval, but he's got pace. He's just kind of trying to relax right now and hold his pace over the longer run.
You see Barbeculata, he's sticking with Stafford. A good run from Barbeculata so far here today, but right behind him, you have Henderson and Bransky, those championship contenders who are both claiming to be down RPMs here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, but they're running so well here in the 3rd and 4th spot. And right when I say that, here comes Matthew Rodriguez is on the high side of Bransky, trying to take away that 4th spot. He is moving on those fresh tires in the 75.
Most definitely is. He's the only driver taking that outside lane and using it to good advantage, as there's no other driver in front of him when he goes up there. So he's able to keep up the corner speed, especially on those newer tires, and do what he's doing right now and pull to the outside of Jacob Bransky. What a great run through turns 3 and 4. But now Shane Therian, he's got a decision to make. Who does he go with? Does he go with his FRN teammate, or does he go with Bransky? And it looks like he's going to go with Bransky.
You got to do what's best for you. I don't know if a lot of these drivers might be in a one-off here tonight, so you got to do what's best for you. It's a $50 bounty out for the winner. So I know Therian is going to try to get those $50 in that number 83 machine, because so far Stafford has been dominating the night in the number 61.
Though interestingly enough, I do have the list of drivers who are ineligible, and one of the drivers not on that list is our 2nd place driver, William Barbeculata. He is a Great Lakes regular, but he's not a typical Cup Series driver, so he's actually eligible for this reward and looks to have the pace to be able to do it if he could manage to find his way around Stafford.
Yeah, Barbeculata has been running pretty comfortably so far in the 2nd spot for quite a while. Looks to maybe just be buying his time, not too far behind Stafford, knowing that Henderson and Bransky are right behind him, knowing that they might cut him a little bit of slack as well. But right when I say that, here comes Therian as well. Therian's going to make the move, try to take away this 4th spot from Bransky on the inside, and he's going to try to clear him going into 1 and 2, but Bransky's fighting back hard on the high side as he gives him a little bit of a squeeze going into the corner.
Bransky dove it deep going into turn 1, but he lost out a bit on the exit. He's somehow making it back up going into turn 3, but it's just so hard to hold the position this late in the run. The tires are really starting to wear down, and that top lane is just not working as well as it would earlier in the run.
These drivers are approaching Christopher Heller pretty quick too, so if these guys are still too wide when they come to Christopher Heller, they might need to make up their mind. We've seen it here today already. It's really difficult to go 3 wide at Charlotte Motor Speedway at any part of the track.
There was almost contact there between Therian and Bransky. Therian got a little bit tight on the bottom side and managed to get just enough out of the gas to stay out of Bransky, but now that brought in Rodriguez a little bit as they're just losing a bit of time to those front drivers.
Stafford getting past Heller now here. Heller's beginning to fall back to these drivers. There you see Heller. And these guys are going to settle it out. Looks like Therian going to clear Bransky going into 1 and 2. And now they're going to pass Heller on the inside. Therian's moved back up to the 4th spot. Bransky's fallen back to 5th. And here comes Rodriguez in the 6th spot. He's trying to stay in front of these drivers behind him, including Zach Rogers and Gavin Fitzgerald. Wondering if maybe Rodriguez have maybe used up his tires a little too hard on the initial part of the run, trying to fight so hard on the high side.
Yeah, it definitely looks like it. I mean, he pretty much was glued to that outside for almost the entire run. It likely did burn off his tires. and he was driving really deep into the corners, pulling to the outside of drivers, so he probably has hurt those tires pretty bad and is now paying for it.
I just don't know what it is with these green cars here today, but all 5 of our leaders, once again, all green cars, all Toyotas. TRD power is here.
Yeah, there are most definitely a lot of green cars here today. A lot of the other colors have already been taken out of this race. It seems it must be a green day. It's not supposed to be March, but it's starting to look like it.
Number 61 of Stafford still leading the field, has a pretty decent gap over William Barbeculata, around 3 to 4 tenths over Barbeculata. Henderson right behind him, and then you have Therian in the 83, and then Jacob Bransky rounding out your current top 5. 6th on back, once again, has fallen pretty far back from these other drivers. Zach Rogers is almost 2 whole seconds behind Jacob Bransky in the 5th spot. You have Fitzgerald, you have Matthew Rodriguez, Robert Kenny, and Nathan Nicholson. Those are your only 10 drivers that are really in contention for this win. Nicholson's kind of even out of it at this point because he's way far back with that nose damage.
Well, somebody who does have nose damage that's running quite well is Elliot Henderson. I say that as he's about to get past, but he has some strong left side damage both to the front and rear end of his race car, and yet he's still able to keep up with these front drivers pretty well, even this deep into the run. I'm quite surprised and impressed, but he has just gotten passed by Therian for the 3rd position, but he's still sitting there in 4th ahead of his championship rival. Looking at that 37, that bumper damage isn't too bad. I don't think that would really affect his speed, but that hood damage that he has on the left side must be hindering him quite a bit. You also have to keep in mind last season when we were here at Charlotte, Henderson put on a show. He led over 100 laps. So this is one of his best racetracks. So this damage has to be affecting him a little bit here. And also, like I've said, I heard that he is down at least an RPM or 2 in that number 37 machine. As far as I was aware, I heard that it was 14 RPM, so he's struggling a bit. As just ahead of him, Therian really wide into turn 3, allowed Elliott to get to his inside. I'm not sure what happened there. He must have just totally missed the corner or something, but he's lost quite a bit of time to who he was closing in on with Barbeculata.
And we saw that earlier when they were on that longer run when Barbeculata kind of had that pass in the grass, his version of it. We saw Therian get pretty tight off 3 and 4 a couple of laps earlier. 3 and 4 just gets super tight off the corner. If you hit that gas a little too early, you just don't even see it coming. All of a sudden, your car just starts sliding up the racetrack like there's a magnet in the wall just attracting your car.
Yeah, it's really bad down in turns 3 and 4. You just don't get the entry like you do down here in turn 1, and it makes it so hard to get to that bottom lane. And then if you try and compensate and get back to the throttle as soon as you can, it just goes straight. So these guys are trying to push the entry to be able to get down the racetrack, point themselves down the hill, but sometimes they're missing it like Shane did a few laps ago.
But Shane has recovered, and he's getting right back up to William Barbeculata. Shane Therian has driven Barbeculata right back down. Therian running very strong lap times right now. The last 2 laps, he's been almost one lap. He was 2 tenths quicker than Stafford, and that last lap, he was 1 tenth quicker than Stafford. So Therian's definitely putting it down here on this run.
He must be a lot more comfortable where he could run his own pace and not have to worry about track position, because on the last run, he was in that 2nd position most of the run. Looked like he was running the same pace as everybody else, possibly trying to just keep his track position, and really fell off later on in the run. But this time, it was the total opposite. He started in the back, and now he's starting to make up time on the guys in front of him.
You see the number 83 of Therian sitting right in front of Henderson. Henderson's gotten back to the back bumper of the number 83 machine. Bransky's fallen back a little bit. He's still right there in the draft, maybe 2-3 car lengths back of Henderson in the number 37. William Barbeculata trying to catch up to Stafford, but Barbeculata and Stafford running very similar lap times every single lap. And Therian, once again, very tight off the corner. I don't know, he might have actually gotten the wall that time. That was very close in the 83 machine, as Henderson's going to pass him down low going into 1 and 2.
He's been getting really close to the rear bumper of the car in front of him. Possibly, it could be a vision issue. These spoilers are so large, it's hard to see past the car in front of you if you're just at the wrong angle, and sometimes you could just miss the corner or maybe not be able to see the wall sometimes. So that could have been what happened there for Shane, as it's almost every time he's right behind another race car is when he does that.
And Shane wants that spot back, and he's going to take it back immediately from Mr. Henderson, moving to that 3rd spot. And here comes Bransky in the number 23 machine right there in that 5th spot. These 3 are beginning to maybe battle it out for the 3rd spot as Barbeculata and Stafford begin to separate themselves from them.
Only problem, though, is that shuffling a little bit, Barbeculata is now about a half second away from Stafford in front of him, so the gap to the lead has opened up quite a bit, and because of Shane's mistake, he's almost 4/10 away from Barbeculata, so this lead's starting to open up a bit.
Stafford's trying to open up a bigger lead. We saw in that last run that he had as big of a lead as about a second on Barbeculata. Barbeculata was able to cut it down as we got longer on in the run, so we'll have to see what happens on this run. Maybe Stafford took better care of his tires this time than Barbeculata did. Barbeculata was amongst some battling there for a few laps, so we'll have to see how that pans out for him.
Well, coming this time by, he just ran him down a whole 10th on that lap. Full 10th in one lap. So I think it's just a matter of once he gets to a certain distance, it just becomes so bad in the corners he can't make up the time. But now that he's further back here, he still has the draft, but can run the corners a lot more comfortably, and he's starting to make the time back up and close the gap, as right behind him, Shane's doing the same thing.
Yeah, we're just facing a very similar issue that we faced around 5 or 6 laps ago. Barbeculata's catching up to Stafford a little bit, but at the same time, Therian's catching up to him a little bit. So we'll have to see what the timing will look like here. Looks like Stafford was once again a little slower than Barbeculata, and once again, Therian a whole 10th quicker than Barbeculata. So Therian's really driving down the 27 here. Oh, it looked like very close to the wall. Looked like with Stafford. Got very close to that wall off 1 and 2. Made a mistake there. First mistake I've seen made out of that 61 machine all day. And here comes Barbeculata now, catching up just a little bit more on that lap because of that.
Well, it's not a matter if you hit the wall, it's just a matter of getting as close to it as possible, and it looked like he got really close. He did not hit it, however, so he's not going to get any damage or lose any time, but he's really pushing the limit to make sure he gets this line right.
Little over 45 laps to go. We know these drivers can make it around 45 laps on fuel, so they're currently in the window right now if these drivers want to maybe make an early pit stop.
Well, as of right now,
contact! Contact between Therian and the 27. Looked like Barbeculata got out of 3 and 4 pretty slow, and Therian had a huge run, and Therian gave him a bump coming through the tri-oval, let him know he's there, and Barbeculata is able to hang on.
Great move for Barbeculata to manage to hold on to that race car. Shane just got into his rear end there, got really close, but I don't know if it might have helped or something, because he's catching up to the lead pretty quickly. Now it's only about 2/10.
That might have woke up the excitement in him. Mr. Excitement has been woken up in that 27. You see the lightning bolts on the side of that machine. He's trying to get up to Stafford. He wants those $50 here. He wants to bring it home for the Great Lakes Racing drivers.
Could be possible that they're starting to push a little bit harder, knowing that they're likely going to pit soon as well. Because you're better off using the tire if you know you're going to pit than saving and then just suddenly coming down pit road and wasting what you got.
I see these drivers staying on the track for at least another 5 laps. I would say they're going to probably pit between like 35 and 40 laps to go, but you might have some early takers, someone like Gavin Fitzgerald, who made that early pit stop last time. We can maybe see him or maybe a couple other drivers try to make an early stop, try to get ahead of these drivers and maybe time it right.
Yeah, Elliott Fitzgerald would have to be one of the first ones that come in. He was one of the earliest to come in on the last run. So he's probably stretching his tires way harder than anybody else and just simply has to make up the time so they can get back up to this pack, even if it means pitting a few laps earlier. Shane Therian getting tight, coming through turns 1 and 2 again. As you see a battle here, Zach Rogers, Gavin Fitzgerald racing hard for that 6th position. Zach Rogers to the inside, but Gavin's going to be able to hold him off around the outside. These two have had a pretty decent fight. They just haven't been able to get side by side up until now. And once again, coming out of turn 4, Zach Rogers is going to get to the inside. and he's gonna have the advantage going into 1 as they are dead even going into turn 1.
My internet dropped there for a second. I think I'm back now. Sorry about that. Stafford still in the race lead. Barbeculata right in there behind him. Shane Therian in the 83. Bransky and Henderson up there as well in the top 5. Which one of these top 5 drivers will be the first taker down pit road? I bet if we see one of these 5 guys go, the next lap, maybe all of them will come. The dominoes will fall.
I'm just impressed by Henderson and Bransky, who we know Henderson has damage and supposedly Bransky has damage, and these guys are holding on tough to these front pack. And here on pit road is the 34 of Robert Kenny, who was quite literally the first car to come down pit road on the last run. So could this be the time that these drivers start coming down?
Kenny's on pit road. It looked like he overshot his box, actually, Alex. That's going to cost him a lot of time. He had to back up quite a bit. He overshot it by quite a bit in that number 34 machine. So that's going to cost him some time, Robert Kenny. We're waiting to see maybe when one of these top 5 drivers will come down pit road. Who will be the first taker? Who wants to be the most aggressive on this strategy and be that early guy?
I'm not sure exactly who it would be. Last time by, Bransky and Elliott are going to come down at the same time. The 2 championship contenders are not pulling a strategy against each other, but rather doing a gamble on all the other cars to possibly try and nab a race win.
This is a very interesting strategy. Henderson has mentioned to me multiple times that he likes to stay out later on the runs, later than the leaders, to gain some time at the end of the run. So this is a very different strategy from Elliot Henderson. We'll have to see if it will work. And Jacob Bransky on pit road as well. Two of our championship contenders. They are also teammates. And then here comes the rest of our leaders. Looks like Therian in the 83 will stay out, but here comes Stafford and Barbeculata.
Now, will Therian stay out as long as he did on the last run? Last time he got a little bit unlucky with the caution that kind of brought the field back together before he was able to make up any track position. But this time, we don't believe that should happen this time around, as that was almost a freak incident with Madalinas and unlucky for him. But this time it should go green.
Therian once again forgoes pit road to the number 83 machine. Right now, I'm looking at this number 83 machine of Shane Therian. I think he's in the catbird seat as long as we don't get any cautions or anything crazy happening. We've seen it all season long, whether it's the Cup Series or the Truck Series, that the drivers that pit at the end of this run usually come out on top because they just have so much speed.
All right, well, on track, Elliot Henderson is going into turn 3 as both Stafford and Barbeculata only were halfway down the back straightaway, so he's gained a huge chunk of time. And also in front of them as well is Bransky. So both of them on that strategy managed to pass for what would be the lead positions as everybody goes through the pit cycle.
Definitely going to be checking the times at the line and comparing Stafford and Henderson and Bransky and Barbeculata and see which one of these guys is the quickest. Because right now Stafford isn't that far behind Henderson. He's only around a second and a half, 2 seconds behind Elliot Henderson in the number 37. So they can get there pretty quickly. I'm going to check the times at the line here. Here comes Henderson and Bransky. They're going to come across the line. It looks like Henderson comes with a 30.5, Bransky with a 30.1. Here comes Stafford with a 29.8, and then William Barbeculata with a 30 flat. So Stafford and Barbeculata are definitely running faster lap times than Bransky and Henderson right now, as Matthew Rodriguez is still on the racetrack in the race lead, pulling the same strategy as he did last time.
And Therian just came off a pit road, but he's lost a ton of time to these guys. He's almost 2 corners back using his pit strategy, so over these next 34 to 33 laps, he's going to be looking to make all that time back up. It should be enough time for him. It's just a matter of will a caution come out and ruin that.
Yeah, will the caution come out and ruin this potential strategy? We see here, oh, wow, and that could have been the caution right there. We still could get it. Bransky is blocking the track for Stafford. Stafford cannot make the move.
That was extremely tight. Stafford is just so much faster than Bransky at the moment. He's faster than both of these guys. He just has to make a smart move. He's going to go around the outside. Going to use the slightly newer tire. He's not going to get enough of a run through the center. Will he be able to get it on the exit? No, he will not. they're going to be able to hold the lead for now, and the longer they can hold on to that lead, the worse it's going to get for Stafford.
The longer they can hold on to that lead, the more Barbeculata can catch up as well, because Barbeculata is a little farther back. He's around a 1.5 seconds back of Stafford right now, and Stafford's having trouble getting past Bransky. He cannot find a lane to get around Bransky. He doesn't look that strong up high. We haven't seen him use the high lane all day, but here he is on the high side trying to make the move once again. Can he complete the pass on Bransky? It looks like he will, coming down the backstretch, and now he sets his sights on the 37 of Henderson.
Aggressive blocking for Bransky down into turn 1. He's actually going to get back under him down in turns 3 and 4. It's going to be a side-by-side dogfight going through the tri-oval as Elliott's going to actually help out Bransky to help him get the position. I think Elliott just wants to have the battle and hopefully try and get the win.
Bransky is fighting awfully tough on that inside as Stafford continues to fight on the outside. This is the hardest we've seen the 61 fight all day. He's trying to get past the number 23 on the high side. He's trying to get to Henderson as well. Stafford trying to clear Bransky, but he has Henderson right in front of him, who's going to possibly slow him down off the corner, but Stafford gets a big enough run. He puts 2 tires in the grass. We have another pass in the grass right there, the 61. He's going to get past the 37 of Henderson. A fantastic move from Bronson Stafford. He takes the lead. That's action Bronson out in the lead now.
That was some tight racing there for the lead position. Stafford's going to be able to get his way by. Now the question comes, how far back are Elliott and Bransky going to be by the end of this run? Because are they going to be able to make up the tire to be able to stay with Stafford, or will they fall back to Barbeculata and Therian?
I'm also wondering, because I know that Barbeculata is going to catch up to Henderson and Bransky possibly within the next few laps. Will Henderson and Bransky fight Barbeculata as hard as they fought Stafford? Because Stafford was using up some tire on that high side, fighting so hard. And Barbeculata is not using up any tire really right now, hanging out in that 4th spot. And we've seen how these longer runs go. Barbeculata tends to be a 10-bit quicker than Stafford on the longer runs.
The only issue is going to come with the fact that at the same time, Barbeculata's got to battle those two. And they're going to fight just as desperately for this spot as they would for the lead position, because they need every point they can get. Especially if Barbeculata gets next to Bransky. Elliott's going to do whatever he can with the air to help out whoever's behind and try and keep them side by side as long as they can.
Henderson and Bransky continue to fall back a little bit from Stafford, not falling back as quick as I thought they would. But this is what happens when you kind of take that early pit stop strategy. When you hit on those early pit stops, you have to drive very hard those first couple laps and try to get as much time as you can. I know it was only a 1-lap difference, but that's all it really takes. We've seen Henderson drive down Bransky after coming in just 1 lap later than he does. We've seen this strategy done multiple times, and this time it was done by Bronson Stafford, who's currently the race leader, and Barbeculata also on that strategy is running a considerably faster last lap time than Stafford right now, running 0.2 of a lap quicker than Stafford.
And Elliott and Bransky were almost the same lap time as Stafford, so their tires have almost evened out a little bit, possibly getting a lot of help from the draft as well. But somebody who's hunting them down is Therian, who is almost 0.3 faster than them that last lap, so he's running them down fast.
Yeah, because you have to look at earlier. Remember earlier when Matthew Rodriguez had the freshest tires in the field and he started passing everybody all the way up high, then his tires started falling off and he started evening out and started actually falling back a little bit. Stafford only had 1 lap difference in his tires than Bransky and Henderson, and he was fighting hard on that high side of Bransky for 4 or 5 laps, Alex. I'm just wondering, maybe his tires might even be worse off than Henderson and Bransky at this point.
It might be possible for sure, but you mentioned Rodriguez. That might be a name that might come up in a moment, as right now he's a lap down, but that's because he stayed out so long before he pit in. He's got the freshest tires by a ton. He was 0.3 faster than Therian, who he's just behind right at the moment, and can run down these leaders. So he might be something that ends up helping out somebody like Stafford or Therian to get to the front of the field.
Yeah, there's Rodriguez getting past Therian, I'm seeing. But these drivers are battling very hard right now for the 3rd spot still here. Barbeculata is caught up officially to Bransky and Henderson. He's made the pass on Bransky. Now he sets his sights on the 37 of Henderson. I'm just curious on how hard will Henderson fight Barbeculata. Barbeculata is running one of the quickest laps on the racetrack right now. If you ignore Therian and Rodriguez, he is the quickest on the racetrack right now.
Barbeculata is running some very solid lap times, but like I said before, he's got a battle with these guys. He got around Bransky pretty easily, a lot easier than Stafford did, but Elliott is putting up a bit of a fight. He's keeping up pace with him. It's kind of hard because he can't seem to get under Elliott. He's been stuck trying to run the outside, and now he's kind of slotted in between these two cars and hasn't really had as much pace as before.
Here comes Matthew Rodriguez on those really fresh tires in the 75, and if I'm William Barbeculata, I'm watching that 75. I'm going to follow him. I want to follow that 75 wherever he goes and try to use him to get through the 37, kind of use him as a blocker like an offensive lineman, and he's the running back.
That is the strategy to use, but it looks like Rodriguez is going to try and go to the outside. He's not going to get the run this time. Bransky almost got towards the inside of Barbeculata. He got a really good run through turns 1 and 2. Barbeculata's kind of stalled out here in between these two cars. I say that as he makes a massive move to the inside of Henderson. Dive bomb into turn 3. They're going to be side by side coming off turn 4.
That was an intentional move from Barbeculata, how slow he was in 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. I was watching him. He backed off so much on the entry of that corner. He was buying on to have a huge run off the corner so he can have the run to get underneath Henderson, because he knew if he can get underneath Henderson, he can complete the pass, and he was able to. A very smart move from William Barbeculata. Genius there.
Now here comes Therian to come around Bransky as well. He tried to make the move down in 1 and 2, wasn't able to make it there. We'll see if he's able to make it out of turn 4, but he's been a lot faster than these guys as well. So here he comes to try and use his fresher tires by about 3 laps, I believe, to catch up to these guys.
Now I'm just going to be watching Barbeculata and Stafford to see how much those couple laps of fighting for Barbeculata maybe affected his tires. And Therian in that 83, he's coming quick. He's definitely quicker than these other 2 drivers right now, but does he have enough time to get past all these drivers and take the lead away?
Seems to be very patient with it. He's just waiting to be able to make his move. He might make it down here in turns 1 and 2. He's got a pretty decent run. I don't think he'll be able to make it to the inside. He just doesn't have enough at the moment, but he's just biding his time. He's not trying to be as aggressive as Barbeculata was to get around him.
That last lap, Stafford was more than a 10th quicker than Barbeculata. Therian was very close to Stafford's time, but he's also stuck behind Bransky, and now he's going to make the move on Bransky coming down the backstretch going into 3 and 4. Can he complete the pass off the corner? Henderson right in front of him. Who does Henderson maybe help out? Does he maybe try to slow down Therian here in the late goings?
Well, looks as though right at the moment he's given the draft that's going to allow Therian to clear down in turns 1 and 2. And he's been a lot better down in 1 and 2 than he has been 3 and 4. I say that as he overshoots the center and allow Bransky to get back to the inside, but he's going to have a bit of drafting assistance. But Bransky might just about get to his quarter panel going into 3. Oh, almost contact. That was really tight to the left rear. Bransky's going to clear him coming out of turn 4.
And another crossover right here. The 83 is now going to go to the inside of the 23. These two are fighting awfully hard. Bransky does not want to give up this spot, and Therian knows he needs to move if he wants to have a shot at this victory here tonight.
They're running out of time for sure. They're 16 laps to go at the moment, so half the time that they had starting this run is gone, and right at the moment, Therian is a little over 2 seconds away from the lead as he just now makes the move underneath Henderson. Because the driver you were hoping to catch up to the lead, and Barbeculata just isn't doing that. He's actually losing time to the lead.
The 83 really sensed it in 3 and 4. He knows he needs to make these moves quick. Came up a little bit into Henderson's lane, forced him to slow down a little bit, hurt Henderson's run off the corner tremendously, and that's going to help Bransky get past Henderson as well. And now here comes Therian in the 3rd spot, trying to get to William Barbeculata. He's running around 0.2 of a lap quicker than Barbeculata. He's running very similar lap times to Stafford, but what can he do once he gets past Barbeculata and he's in that semi-clean air?
He's been battling for almost all of these laps, so the lap time that he has had has been pretty impressive considering the situation that he was in. So given clean air, like he would be if he gets around Barbeculata, he might be able to catch up enough time. It's just with 14 laps to go now, will he have enough laps to even catch up to him? Right now, it's over 2 seconds. I'm not sure if he's able to make that up in time.
Definitely needs to put down some good laps. We've also seen at the end of these runs, Stafford tends to fall off a little bit, and Stafford's been driving that car very hard on this run. He's been driving some very good lap times, don't get me wrong, but I'm just curious on how that may be affecting his tires at the end of this run. As we see Therian making the move on Barbeculata going into 1 and 2, it looks like Barbeculata is going to put up 2. Right when I say that, he squeezes him going in the middle of the corner. It looked like he was about to move over, went all the way to the high side, but then came all the way down in the middle. He's have a phenomenal run off the corner.
Looks like Therian should be able to have this position as Bransky actually helps him out to the inside a little bit, but Barbeculata is running super tight in 3 and 4. That could have been an issue because, like I mentioned before, these cars are so tight in the center of the corner. He could have very easily gotten into them. This is great driving between these two.
Barbeculata is not giving him an inch of space. Let's see what he can do here. He's not going to be able to get to his side. He's going to have to fall in behind Shane Therian. Can Shane Therian go down there and drive down Bronson Stafford? He's around 2.5 seconds back with 12 laps to go. He seems to have a little bit of a faster race car right now, but does he have enough time?
That battling as well has lost them a good chunk of time. They lost almost over a half second because of that battling. Now 2.5 seconds away from Stafford. I don't know if he'll be able to make up that time. He only ran 200ths faster that lap. We'll have to see the next lap once he finally gets clear and has a clean lap, but I don't know if he'll be able to run quick enough to run him down.
Another big question on the mind, at least for me. The way the end of these races get, sometimes they get a little crazy. Are we able to keep it green with all these green cars up front? Are we able to keep it green at the end of this race? Are we going to get a late race caution, maybe even a green-white checkered here at Charlotte Motor Speedway?
I may be curious. He might have a shot here. He ran just about 0.2 quicker than Stafford that time. So he's running him down. He needs to go slightly quicker, and he might be able to close the gap enough. I just don't know if he'll be able to get side by side with him.
Check the times at the line here. It looks like Stafford with a 31.81, and then you have Shane Therian with a 31.77. So only around a half a tenth that last time by. They need to pick it up more than that if he wants to catch up to Stafford, because he's around 2.3 seconds back with still 9 laps to go here at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Stafford's kind of running into some lap cars at the moment. I'm not sure how much that's going to impede him. It could impede him just a little bit, just enough to help out Therian, as he kind of almost gets stuck behind Heller in the center of the corner. Actually allowed Therian to catch up almost 0.2 that time by. So he's making up some time. It's just they're running out of laps. It's 8 laps to go now, and with that kind of gap, I'm not sure if he'll be able to make it up.
If he is able to make it up, though, we're going to be set up for another one of those phenomenal Charlotte Motor Speedway finishes, possibly off the final corner. That would be phenomenal to see. Shane Therian continues to drive him down. We're going to check the times at the line this time by. It looks like he was only a little over half a tenth that time. So he's going from 0.2 a lap to half a tenth a lap each lap. It seems like that's not nearly enough time to catch up. That's not nearly enough time. There's not nearly enough time to make up that ground at that pace, Alex.
Yeah, the only way that he gains this time right here is if he loses a lot of time to Matthew Daniels trying to get by him in this lap car. Other than that, I don't really see any other way of Therian catching him, as he seems to get around Daniels pretty cleanly without losing too much time, and it's just simply running out of time for Therian.
Running out of laps here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. We have 6 laps to go. Bronson Stafford leads the field. Shane Therian in the 83 runs in second. You have William Barbeculata in third. Jacob Bransky running in fourth, and Elliot Henderson rounding out your top 5. 6th place, Robert Kenny is around 15 seconds back of the race lead. He's not even in this conversation. It's a 5-car show here right now.
The battle we might have to stick here and watch is going to be around this 4th, 5th, 6th position, because Elliot Henderson definitely wants the spot, because right now he's going to be losing points to Bransky with the position that he's in. But luckily he's got Barbeculata that could be sort of a wild card to allow him to get back by Bransky.
And Bransky and Henderson trying to get as many points as they can. We know these drivers are going to probably fight pretty hard in these last couple laps, as these guys are in a championship battle. Who's going to finish in front of who? Here comes Bransky on the high side. Henderson's going to make the move down low. Bransky gives him plenty of room. Looks like Bransky got off 3 and 4 pretty slow, and Henderson was able to make that move pretty easy and clear him going into 1 and 2 with just 4 laps to go.
That's going to be beneficial for Elliott. He's going to be able to extend his gap, but he almost gets in the wall. Somehow he's able to hold on to the position. Bransky's looking low. They're going to be side by side coming through turns 3 and 4. Elliott's going to have a bit of a run coming out of 4 and will be able to hold on to that spot, but that was almost a crash between those two.
Yeah, very close incident between Bransky and Henderson. Right there behind William Barbeculata in the 27. Great save from Henderson. Bransky able to keep it straight and still hang out in that top 5 and 4th and 5th respectively. Still right behind Barbeculata. They're still within striking distance of getting to William Barbeculata in these next few laps.
The only thing is, will Elliott want to be able to do that? Because he could risk getting passed by Bransky if it doesn't come out properly. As they're on 2 to go, he's only got to survive a couple more laps to be able to hold on to this position that gains him points in the championship. If he tries to make the pass on Barbeculata, or if Bransky just simply makes a pass down here in turns 3 and 4, it could close up the gap enough that just one position could win the championship.
Definitely some heavy points battles going on right here. We're approaching the white flag for Bronson Stafford. This race is now official. We will not get another caution. Bronson Stafford looking to take home that $50 bounty in that number 61 machine. Can he do it? They're still battling back there. William Barbeculata, Elliot Henderson, and Jacob Bransky. Who will come out on top out of those 3 guys? You see them right there on your screen.
Looks as though they might be able to hold the positions coming through the last couple corners. Bronson Stafford gonna start on pole and will win the race as a newcomer to the Great Lakes Cup Series. He's gonna nab the bounty. That's gonna be Shane Therian in the 2nd position, Barbeculata in 3rd, Elliot Henderson in 4th, and Jacob Bransky will stay in the 5th position.
In those last few laps, it looked like the 6th spot was taken away by Zach Rogers in a pretty big block. It looked like off 3 and 4 by Kenny, able to throw the block on Nicholson, and Nicholson will end up finishing in the 8th spot. Looks like Fitzgerald will come home 9th, and Matthew Rodriguez comes home in 10th. Great performance by the Flatout Racing Network guys. Got all 4 of their guys in the top 10, and we're able to get a 1-2. So good job from them. And Stafford able to put it on, just put on a phenomenal show in the 61 machine. Led the most laps, started on pole, green to finish. A fantastic race for the 61 machine. Didn't really make any mistakes all day, and he's going to burn it down, rightfully so. A phenomenal win from Bronson Stafford, the driver of the number 61 FRN Toyota. Wow, great race from him.
Just ran a solid race the entire night, held on to the lead for almost the entire race, and just didn't lose it at all to anybody. He wrestled that lead away at every opportunity that came by, and he held on to win this race and nab himself that $50 bounty.
And before we go to the interviews here for tonight, I want to go over the race results here with y'all. Of course, your winner and pole sitter and just overall dominator of the day, the driver of the number 61, Bronson Stafford. Shane Therian in the number 83 machine able to come home 2nd. William Barbeculata in 3rd. Elliot Henderson came home 4th. Jacob Bransky rounded out your top 5. Rogers, Kenny, Nicholson, Gavin Fitzgerald, and Matthew Rodriguez. That's your top 10 here tonight at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And I think you're ready for some interviews down there, Alex. I think you might be with our 3rd place guy.
Yep, every single driver is ready and they want to talk to us. If I could get their 3rd place driver, William Barbeculata, in, he had a great race today. Fantastic stuff out of William Barbeculata. Welcome to the booth. Had a great race, held on to the 3rd position from the 2 championship contenders behind you, and overall just ran a solid race all day. Tell us about how your night went.
Yeah, no, I didn't really know what to expect. Thought I'd just come in here and have some fun, maybe win the bounty. And I messed up, got a black flag in qualifying, so I was in the back. And a couple of big wrecks and was able to avoid them and got some really good track position. Saved my tires pretty well, and I just tried to just hang with those guys up front, save my tires, not do anything too aggressive. I could have maybe tried for the lead a couple times, but I didn't really want to, and I didn't have a great last pit stop, which kind of uh, lost a little bit of ground to, I think it was Bronson, and ended up coming home third. So definitely a good night.
Yeah, throughout the entire night, you pretty much had a very solid top three car once the field started to string out. And what you kind of sat there behind people most of the time and still had some fantastic pace. So, how do you deal with sticking behind somebody and still being able to keep the tires under you?
Yeah, it definitely, especially when you got really close to someone entering a corner, you got super tight. So I, I would get a run, get up to someone, and I'd have to send it in on the bottom, make a big move, or just kind of hang back, and then I might lose that ground. So it was really like, you'd get two or three tenths, and then you drop back to five, and it was kind of back and forth. And I never really I felt comfortable enough to really push it and try to get to the leader. So it was tough. Dirty air. You could definitely feel it. You got tight. Definitely used it to my advantage a couple times with cars behind me. Bransky was close, almost had me a couple times in that last run. Was able to defend him with the dirty air. But it was tough. You could definitely feel it, and I think longer run track position was really important.
And I'm also curious, as the only typical Great Lakes driver we're going to be talking to in the top three, did you think you had
Mhm.
any assistance from your fellow Great Lakes drivers tonight to try and help you get to the front of the field, or did you feel that it was an all out dogfight?
I felt it was an all-out dogfight. I mean, I didn't really. I'd Gavin early, but he wasn't really able to help me a lot, and Um, he was really the only one in there on my Spectrum team, and then regular Great Lakes guys. I didn't get a whole lot of help either. I mean, I was around some of those newer guys often up front. Bransky, he didn't really help me late. He was going behind Shane and not really pushing me much. So I would not say I got a whole lot of help though. So it definitely made it difficult, especially not having any of my true teammates.
All right, well, congratulations on the third place finish. Do you have anybody you have to thank tonight for that?
Yeah, I mean, I want to thank you guys for just putting this on. This was a fun race. I mean, Elliot had the bounty going to if a non-regular could win, and that's really what I was here for. And was able to, or wasn't able to get it. Came up short, but he made this fun. Got a couple guys in here, and so yeah,
All right, well, congratulations, Barbeculata. You had a great race today, ran solid, and thank you for coming in to talk to us.
yeah. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was William Barbergelata. Next, let's try and grab our second place finisher. Pulled the more interesting strategy on the night is going to be Shane Therian. We got to pull in Shane Therian. Welcome to the booth. Comes up second place tonight, just short of Bronson by a little over a second. Do you feel that you had the proper strategy tonight to win this race, or would you have done something different?
Uh, I thought the strategy was fine, but it was just took too long to get past those guys that had pit earlier. So I think if I could have gotten past those guys sooner, probably would have had a chance. But, I mean, I'll take a second. It was good.
Well, you were working with quite a few FRN guys tonight. You had a lot of you guys in this race today. You guys finished 1-2. Were you helping each other out at all? Or were you guys just fighting each other as if it was all on your own?
We always help each other out. And then like the last like 10, 15 laps, for first and second is whoever comes out on top. But majority of the race, we always help each other out. So I mean, if I would have gotten to Bronson, may have put a bumper to him, but he probably wouldn't be surprised.
Well, we definitely noticed a couple times tonight when you were behind some cars, you kind of missed the corners a little bit, kind of got a bit wide coming out of some of those corners. What was it like in that dirty air? How tight was it getting in that race car?
It was very tight. I noticed if I didn't have a car behind me, it was better entering. But if I had a car behind me and a car in front of me entering, I kept missing my mark. And the car was just so plowy. So and then we were basing off the tires between Bronson and I. He always had like 10, 15% better right front than me because he was in clean air. So it, it, dirty air is just so overpowered at those mile and a halfs, and it's very, very hard to stay consistent like that.
All right, well, congratulations on the second place finish. Do you have anybody you need to thank for that?
Yeah, I'm gonna thank, you guys for broadcasting. I got FRN in the car, my teammates for Sky Motorsports, and the league for letting me join here at last minute. Fun.
All right, well, thank you, Shane Therian, for coming into the booth. Just before you go, is that the proper pronunciation of your last name?
There's no H, it's Therian.
That's what
All
I
right.
said.
Yep.
We
The
were
H is
all
silent.
wrong the whole night. We apologize for that, but
It's
thank you for
okay. I'm
clearing up
used
the
I'm
air,
used to
Shane.
it. Thank you.
Thank you for coming in. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Shane Therian. Next up, we gotta bring in race winner and bounty collector for tonight, Bronson Stafford. Welcome to the booth. Congratulations on the win. Dominated the night tonight. How'd you hold the lead the whole night almost?
Honestly, the car just felt really good. So I was able to kind of put it anywhere I wanted, and it just felt good. And tires never really felt too bad. And once they did wear off, we were in the lead with clean air. So
Well, we for sure was waiting for somebody to make the move on you, but you just had such a solid car the whole night. I heard some other drivers complaining about the tightness of the race car. Would you say that that really wasn't a problem for you out front?
it was a little tight. It was still a little tight, especially once it wore off more. But obviously, I think if you got back in traffic after 10 laps or so, it really felt tight, and there's just not much you could do with it there. So, clean air just I think it really helped, but the car was still a little tight, but it wasn't too bad.
All right, well, I got one more thing. For most of the night, you ran around the bottom, but on the last pit cycle, both Elliot Henderson and Jacob Bransky pit a little bit before you and got track position. What was it like having to pass them and not only pass them, but have to pass them around the outside to manage to do it? What was that change you had to make to do that?
It wasn't too bad, actually. The top had a lot of grip on brand new tires. It's just you'd burn the right front a bit more and heat it up quicker, so it just became a little, making sure you didn't do that to say. But otherwise, yeah, like running them down and having to pass, like they were racing pretty hard. I think they're the two going at it for points championship right now, so I didn't want to, stick around too long or mess that up. So I figured I'd run the top, let them keep their line, and just try and go where they weren't. And it worked out. Once we got back to the lead, we were able to drive away. I think they were just battling so hard.
All right, well, you're the bounty collector tonight. Got yourself $50. What are you going to spend it on?
I have no idea, honestly. Not a clue. I was just kind of here for fun. Like I know, obviously FRN and everything on the car, and big partners there with the league and sponsorship, all that stuff. But just kind of here for fun, and a bounty's just a bonus. Good car count and everything tonight. I feel like it did its job of bringing in some people, and we had a really good race. We had a 1-2 with Shane and FRN on the car, and had some people out there watching and stuff. So just a good night overall.
All right, well, congratulations, Bronson Stafford. Who do you have to thank for the win tonight?
The whole Sky Motorsports team, we did really good. Robert Kenny got some damage early, and Tom had some damage, but Shane and I were able to get a 1-2. We're always usually pretty solid at Charlotte, so it just kind of really worked out well. Obviously, FRN got them on the car, had you guys broadcasting for FRN, everything like that up there, and Great Lake Cup Series letting us come in and run for a bounty hunter in the middle of a championship battle and whatnot. So that was a lot of fun. And a little special shout out to Logan Gilly. I know he likes to watch our races, and he was watching tonight and stuff like that. So just a lot of fun. And Thompson Caterpillar in Tennessee. We got them on the car as a secondary and a primary for a lot of series and whatnot. So just everyone that makes it happen.
All right, well, congratulations on the win tonight, Bronson. You led the FRN Brigade to the finish, crossed the line first, got yourself a bounty. So, congratulations and thank you for coming in to talk to us.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was our interviews for tonight. Interesting night tonight, having a bunch of new faces here in the Great Lakes Cup Series. Made it a lot more interesting for tonight, pulled out some strategy and had some really tight race. And Kyle, how'd you think of the race?
It was a phenomenal race, a great show. Bronson Stafford, of course, put on a phenomenal race. Things got very tricky in those first 50 laps here, but after those first 50 laps, things sure seemed to calm down here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. We're going to go through these results one more time. I'm going to give you those full results here for the Great Lakes Cup Series. Of course, your winner here today, like I mentioned, Bronson Stafford. Once again, congratulations to him. Therian, that is Alex, comes home second. William Barbeculata third. Elliott Henderson, Jacob Bransky, Zach Rogers, Robert Kenny, Nathan Nicholson, Gavin Fitzgerald, and Matthew Rodriguez. That's 4 out of the 5 Flatout Racing Network guys there in the top 10. So good debut for a lot of those guys. Go on to the next slide. In the 11th spot, we have Matthew Daniels, who had a good run today in the number 5 machine after his early issues, just able to get as many points as he could, finishing 5 laps down, but able to come home in that 11th spot. You have Nick Martin back here, Christopher Heller. Hunter Madalinas came home 14th after his issue coming off pit road. You have Jacob Manning, Austin Moore back here. You have Jake Miller coming home 17th after his early speed. Aaron Duclos 18th. Lewis Woodall at 19th after his early exit. The 5th and final Flatout Racing Network driver of Tom Bourne, after being involved in that crazy incident in the early going, had to exit early, and then finishing in the 21st spot was Ty Aiken, our Iowa winner earlier on in the season, was not able to come home with the finish he liked today. Any last thoughts here, Alex, before we head out?
Well, I thought that was a fantastic race. Hopefully this race shows off to get some more people into this league, because it is a great series. And I can't wait to get to the race next week and see what kind of field we got.
Yeah, I'm very excited for what we got next week here in the Great Lakes Cup Series. It should be phenomenal in the Great Lakes Cup Series, but also next week in the Great Lakes Truck Series, we continue our round of 8. We go to Talladega, Alex. I'm looking forward to that on Tuesday.
That is definitely going to be an interesting one, especially in the playoffs for these drivers. It's going to make it just that much more stressful.
Well, I'd like to thank all of you guys for tuning in here today for the Great Lakes Cup Series presented by ButtKicker. Once again, congratulations to Bronson Stafford on his phenomenal race and phenomenal victory and winning those $50 on the bounty. We will see y'all next week for Great Lakes Cup Series action. And also tune in Tuesday for the Great Lakes Truck Series round of 8 at Talladega. Good night, everybody. Once again, congratulations, Bronson Stafford, on his victory.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of Flatout Racing Network and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Flatout Racing Network and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations. Flatout Racing